Well, good morning out there in YouTube land, and thought I'd do a little update video here feeding the calves. And I tell you, I'm waiting to take them to the market, waiting for the price to be good, but I got 15 calves here and I really could use the money, and the price is starting to come up here, and I was going to wait probably after the 1st of March, which is just next week. So grass is starting to green up, but I thought I'd do a little update here on what's going on. And everything is a muddy mess around here. The cow lot over there is all muddy and nasty, and I just don't like it, but it's what it is what it is. I don't usually feed calves in the winter like this, but this winter I have, because these were born late summer, middle of summer, and most of them are out of first-time heifer calves. And so anyway, let's just show you a little bit of them here and get my camera to cooperate with me. These are out of first-time, most of them. Their mama's first-time calves, and so I'm not going to really, I don't think I'll keep any of the heifers, and some of them are steers, mostly heifers. But this is a good looking little steer here, but he's got horns, and I've got a few that have cropped out with horns this year too, and I didn't dehorn them, but they've been vaccinated and weaned for at least 90 days, and so since November, so that into October, 1st of November, and they were, like I say, born June, July, along in that time, which is, I don't like having them in the summertime, but it is what it is. And so we're waiting here to be able to take them to the market and get rid of them, and they're eating like hogs. They'll eat the feed up pretty quick, but their lot stuff's getting real muddy, as you can tell, and the actual lot up here is really muddy. So I'm trying to get around here and get them out. My grain bin back up there, I showed you a video before, but it caught on fire this fall when we filled it up. Cost about $5,000 worth of feed, and we just right at $5,000 to fill that thing up. I sold some calves and had the money. I filled it up, and it's about September, 1st of September, and it caught on fire inside. It's corn gluten feed. We've been feeding that for 10 years. I've shared this before on videos, but I believe on YouTube before. But anyway, that thing caught on fire and gone out now, but it's rusted through my tank, and it's just caused a lot of trouble there. And so I called the company, and they're supposed to be going to work with me a little bit, but they haven't done anything yet, and I'll have to buy a new grain bin, or I may get a grain cart. I've seen different ones, like Arms Family Homestead, he got him a cart, and I've seen some others around here getting them, but I went over to where I could get one, and they were sold out until April. So I've been feeding in these big huge sacks that are 1,500 pounds, and we just measure it out in buckets and feed. Otherwise I could feed out of the truck if I wanted to, and it just fill it up. It's an overhead feed bin. So, but anyway, that little more work this winter and a little loss here on the homestead, so I've had to buy grain as I've went. We buy 2 or 3 of them big bags a week of those 1,500 pounders, and right now is when we really need to be feeding grain, so it even go up more. But I've spent quite a bit of money that I had already planned on everything being put back and going, but that's just kind of the way it is when you're farming and ranching. But here's the babies again, but the price has been going up a little bit. Some of these, this one here was out, wasn't born until like July, I believe, and it's just kind of scrawny, but it was the mama's first time. These two aren't, but this one here is first timer. So these mamas that have their first babies are born, sometimes they have a little trouble growing and giving the milk like they will next year. They'll do better, and usually the third or fourth year is when they do their best calves, their third or fourth calving season. But anyway, it is what it is. And I had a Brangus bull. We've gotten rid of him since and went back to Angus, but this one here turned out tiger striped. People really like them, but her mama hasn't fared well this winter like I'd like to see. And but this one was actually born in July, and I weaned it off in November to let the mama catch back up. All the mamas catch up. In the winter it's kind of rougher on them. But anyway, just showing you a little update here on the homestead of the feeder calves, or whatever you want to call them here, weaned calves. And it's time now to take them to the market, and hopefully here in the next few days I can get them out of here. Well, I told about this on one of the earlier videos, but I put me in a new gate here and redone this down here, and my fence corner posts weren't doing well, so I put in a new corner post and re-stretched the wires. And this fence was leaning out. It's along the road here, and the soil's pretty soft, so I really put the post in here thick and put me a good stretched corner post here. Went all the way down, and my son helped me, and we put these posts in pretty close together. And I may even put this one here, don't even have clips on it yet. That ain't gonna do a lot of good. Someone missed that, but blame that on my son. But anyway, I might put fence stays even through here, but I've got that really tight. And they get along the road here eating, and this time of the year they'll stick their necks through and trying to eat green stuff along the road. And this out here stays pretty fertile because we mow this throughout the summer, and the dead grass goes right back on it, and it just makes it very fertile land, and it grows good Bermuda grass out here. So they stick their necks through. I don't mind them eating this, but I don't want them pushing my fence over. So I've had to come through here and redo this. And but this time I put the post, as you can tell, this T-post pretty close together, and I put me a bunch of support posts down through here. And I'm not a real good welder, but I can weld anyway. But I put these little clips on here and drove these posts in the ground, these steel posts, and that dude is solid right there. And I put a bunch of them about every 4 or 5 posts, where I've got a good steel post too, and hopefully that'll keep them from stretching their heads through. And on up in the summer when they got plenty of grass, that's not a problem. But this is kind of my sacrifice pasture out here. And we got a little brush pile over there. We've been burning some brush and stuff, and old pond and stuff, but they really tear this all up pretty good. But as soon as the grass turns green, it'll all green right back up and look real good. But anyway, I took some old oil pipe and welded me some corners in here. Like I say, I don't claim to be no kind of welder, but I bought this gate here, and the hinges, they didn't have welded good, so I've had to re-weld this part stayed on, but right there broke off. And I bought these gates store-bought, and they even got little grease certs in them. I haven't greased them yet, but they open real good, and I was real proud of them. They're kind of expensive, but I said I'll put me a gate up that'll outlast me. Well, we just got it up, and was out here working on the fence, and that hinge broke, so I welded the other hinges up too. And like I say, my welding jobs ain't real pretty, but I'll show you something on this gate. And I forgot the brand of this gate. I think they call it Bad Boy, but it really looks good. But this one, they done a pretty good job of welding this here. But I've got a couple of these in another location that I put in, and they didn't weld all these spots. And I think they must do a computerized welding. This particular gate here, they done pretty good, except on the hinge part. They kind of sloppy on that, and I don't know if these are American made or not, but if they are, and I thought they were when I bought them, Americans used to take pride in their work, and this here's pretty good. So, but if that's all you did every day was weld up gates, you should be able to handle it. But anyway, there's a little bit of an update. I still got weld them little clips on that post down there for the wires, and got a bunch to do out here still, but I got it where it'll hold the cows good for a while. And this here truck, in case you're wondering, is my ATV here on the farm. And I had used to use this as a work truck, and I bought it new in 2003. And just a little advertisement for Chevy, these little S10s were good trucks. It's a 4-cylinder standard, but I have over 300,000 miles on this truck, and I bought it in 2003, brand new, paid $17,000 for it. And looks like I got a low tire there too, but I can fix that, that's easy. But I got toolbox in it, so I keep my farm tools and stuff in this these toolboxes. And it's not four-wheel drive, so I had to be careful out on the mud. So to get out in the pasture, I had to use the four-wheeler, because we just had about a quarter inch of rain this morning. Those thunderstorms blew through, but you can see now the sky's bright, and it's starting to look nice out today. It's supposed to be up near 70 degrees, and this is the last week of March. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to it. But I thought I'd do a little film this morning. But let's go show you my ATV here. You know, it don't cost me nothing. I've had people wanting to buy it, but it ain't worth doodly squat. And someone, I went and got it tuned up, and I'd never had it tuned up anything to speak of. And while it was there, a guy backed into the side of it. And so the lady said her husband had backed into it, and she called, and her husband's got Alzheimer's or something, and so she said wanted to know what I wanted to do. And I said, well, the old truck ain't worth nothing, I ain't worried about it. She said, oh no, we're gonna pay, but she said, I just don't want you turning it in on your insurance. She said, what we'll do is we'll just pay you, write you a check for it, the damages. She said, go get 3 estimates and I'll pay your cheapest estimate. So I did, and it was about $1,000 to get that repaired. And I called her and told her the cheapest one I had, but I felt bad. I was like, you know, I ain't worried about it. The door still opens and closes. I'm not going to repair it. But she was, I guess, a good, honest person. I believe she's a Christian person. And so she insisted on mailing me a check for $1,000. So I put that in the bank. I put it towards my next truck. But anyway, this is what she is. But instead of buying me one of them expensive Polaris ATVs, I do have a four-wheeler, but and I will get one of these days. But for right now, past few years, I've used this old truck to feed my cows. And if I feed out of buckets, I can just put them up in the back here, and I can actually get 12 buckets real easy in there. And if I need to, I can set some on the tailgate. And it's getting wore out, but it don't use any gas, don't burn any oil, and it's got the original motor and everything. I did have to replace the clutch several years ago, but I've not had to do very much to this old thing, and it sure does good for me. But I can run and feed here almost all winter here on 1 tank of gas. And I am down to about a quarter now, and it's the 1st of March, so I might not make it all winter this year. I've used it a lot around on the farm. I still keep it tagged. I can drive it to town if I wanted to. I keep insurance on it. Insurance ain't much. I just carry liability, but it's old. But on a farm, you know how it is. If you're farming, the cows will beat your stuff up, and driving out across the pastures rough on stuff. So if one bumps into this, I just don't have to worry all that much. Boy, it's a beautiful day today. Thank the Lord. We have sure been blessed. God's been good to us out here at Cedar Creek. out here where I put the new gate in had gotten so muddy bringing the tractor and driving in and out of here. I had to have some stuff hauled in, and I put it in the worst locations. Didn't put any like here because it was pretty firm. Now it's gotten muddy, and I've put some on up through there, and I'm gonna have to have another load. I've had 2 loads hauled out here, and what's unusual this winter, the amount of moisture we've had the past few years, we haven't had a lot of moisture, but this year I've been using this area a lot more, and with all the rain, it sure makes it muddy. But I am thankful. I thank God for the rain, and we certainly, last 2 winters, really 3 winters, but the last 2 especially, last winter was extremely dry, and the creeks dried up, our ponds got low, and it was just a very bad season. We had a lot of wildfires and stuff, and this year we could still have wildfires, but we're definitely way better moisture wise. The ponds are running over, the creek's been running all winter, and this rain ought to do us some good come spring. This ought to be soaking down. In fact, if you want to dig a post hole right now, it's so soft when the ground ain't frozen. It's just super nice. But I thank God for the rain. He knows what we have need of even before we ask him, and I tell you, we needed some good moisture, and we're getting it this year. I hope and pray we have a great summer. We had a pretty good summer last summer with moisture, and did pretty good here. I know other parts of the country is suffering, but we did pretty good. But it could have used a little more, but the Lord knows what we need. I'm gonna go get the 4-wheeler and go check the mama cows. Been having a few baby calves around here, and we'll go check them. Muddy mess around here. Got my safety glasses on because this feed sometimes blows up in my eyes, and they can really irritate me. sorry. Well, this is feeding the cows. I had to take my heavy coat off because the sun's coming out, and it was like 51 when I left the house this morning, and I think it's getting up 60 or 70 degrees now. I don't have a thermometer out here, but other than myself, it's getting a little bit warm out here. But the cows, I've got about 15 or 16 here that have calved, and I would rather them wait until it's different preferences, but I've lost 2 calves, and I blamed it this spring on or this early winter, late winter, because it was so cold. One day one was born and it was raining and freezing ice, and I went out and warmed it up and thought it would be okay, and it was nursing its mama, but the next day it was dead. So we're supposed to have 40-50 mile-an-hour winds today, and I can see where my camera is there, it's starting to shake a little bit, so we might not be able to film very long today, and this might not even turn out. You might not even be able to hear me talking. But I got a few cows that calved last year in here, kind of getting them built back up. Some of the heifers that didn't do as well, I feed extra in here. Plus these cows have wheat to eat on, and the wheat's really short. They've kept it 8 down, but I've got some of it closed off now, and there's some areas over here under the trees that's really close to the trees. It's really starting to get on up there, so they're getting that. Plus they get all the hay they want to eat too when they're mamas and they're giving milk. And I feed them a little bit of grain every day. They get grain, and they're really having calves so early. It's kind of tough keeping them halfway decent, and those cows have fallen off some since they calved. And I'd rather wait till about at least February for sure. Some of these calved in December, so they're having to nurse nurse babies through the cold weather. But thank the Lord, now it's warming up, so things are going to be better around here. The cattle price market has been going up if you've been watching. So I'm hoping that I'll get a good price over the ones you seen me feed earlier at the cow lot. I've been planting weed on this field out here, but I didn't plant any this year, and I've got some ryegrass. As soon as it gets dry, I'm going to try some annual ryegrass out there and see how that does. And I've got some clover, about 100 pounds of white clover. Now that's a lot of seeds in one bag, and it was around $100 for like $116. First time I've ever tried clover, but I've got a little thing of going in the back of my four-wheeler solar hopper deal. So I'm going to go out and sow strips of clover this year and see if I got some clover out here, but not a whole lot. So I thought I'd try that a little bit. Plus, I think that field over there, I'm going to put some rye out, and they'll say it'll reseed itself and come back every year. But I mostly have Bermuda grass, but it's kind of slow here to get the Bermuda grass going. And it'll start in April. It'll start sprigging out, but it's usually the 1st of June, middle of May, 1st of June before you get anything worth eating on our Bermuda grass. And then it holds good through the first frost, and then we'll usually have some left over. But this year they have grazed what I had banked back. In fact, I had that whole field over there beyond this electric fence banked, and I had it really banked. And about the 1st of September, we had a drought for a couple of weeks, and they got to eating everything down so low. I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and turn them in there for a few days, and I did. And thank the Lord I had that pasture there to put them over on, so I didn't have to start feeding hay. I've also got 9 last year heifers that they're just now, that's one of them right there, that little black and white face. Over here's one. They're just now a year old, but I've had them in here and trying to keep them fat. That wheat seems like they really do good on it. They're coming along pretty good. But anyway, just a little farm update out here at Cedar Creek to show you a little bit of what's going on. Our newest little babies, I don't know if you can see that one there, that black white-faced cow. She's got a little heifer calf there. Right in front of her, these other calves are kind of blocking the way. But that was our newest one that was born yesterday. And yesterday got up about 50 degrees, so thankfully she had it on a pretty day. And I've been taking my bulls, letting them stay 90 days and out the past few months, so my calves should get to where I went through a spell that I wasn't able to get them in and out and stuff and do what I wanted to do, but I'd like to have everything calving in the fall in a 90-day window, like September, October, November, and then like March, April, May, or February, March, April. And I don't mind even into May, but I'd rather them be through by the end of April, by the 1st of May. And if they are, the green grass is usually really going by that time, and wheat and stuff that's come up good, and they can really eat. And when a mama cow, I've got one over here that she's kind of an old cow, and so she can't eat as good, and so she's had good nourishment, but she's really fell off. And she's wet right now too, makes her look worse, but you can really tell how much she fell off. And this will probably be her last year. She'll probably go to the market. Probably should have last year, because she's not going to be able to. Most of these cows that calved early are my best calvers, but they're getting old, and 10, 12-year-old cows. So there's a few new ones in here that are doing good, though some of these will be being replaced with these new heifers that I've got here. And when they get old, they don't have as much teeth, and some missing, and their teeth get down and look like little popcorn nubs, and they just can't eat like they did, and they start falling off. And I've had that happen this year. Plus, I don't know how y'all are on your farms. If you watch this and you're a rancher, you got cows, I don't care if you have 1 or 100, don't make me no difference. We're all ranchers, and if you farm at all, raise a garden or anything, I consider you a farmer. But some do it big and some do it little. Don't make me no difference. I'm just a small-time farmer, but I like to watch the big ones too and see what they're doing. And but if you're this year I've talked to some ranchers around here that their cows have fallen off more than normal, and our weather, we've not had as cold of a winter, so I don't quite understand that, why that's happening. And I have even I've been feeding ours a little bit more because of it, and it seems like they have fallen off more. And I felt like they had better conditions this year for the most part. Not as cold of weather. We have gotten down to 16 degrees was my lowest I've recorded here at Cedar Creek this winter, but that has only been 4 or 5 different mornings, and we have had several mornings around freezing, but most mornings have been above freezing in the 30s. So I was like, wow, we've had a good winter for temperature wise. It might not be good for those that believe in global warming, but I've enjoyed what we've had, and stuff's greening up early this year. This is the end of February. I think this coming up Friday, almost a week from today, will be the March 1st. And so we're at the last week of February, and it's probably hard to tell on this angle, but a bunch of this around here is starting to green up, and the trees are getting buds. The lilies, I call them Easter lilies, but they have come up and are pretty tall, and some of them are even putting buds on now, and they usually don't do much until on up towards middle of March. And so we may be getting a couple of weeks early. You know, old Punxsutawney Phil, the old groundhog, he predicted that spring was going to be early, so I don't put much faith in him, but we might really have an early spring, which would be a blessing here for us, because the cows just do better when they get green grass. You can't, in my opinion, you can't feed and grain them enough to equal what they get on green grass. So I counted my hay yesterday, and I have 60 round bales of hay left, and that will probably do me for 30 more days, depending on how quickly everything greens up. My wheat does, but if I need to, I'll purchase more hay. Y'all get back, go on. They're trying to eat on my jacket, but I don't want to bore you with stuff. Some of you are ranchers and you go through all this stuff. I like watching other ranchers and see how they do things, and some folks don't know what goes into a ranch, and most people don't understand where meat comes from, and people now are even willing to eat fake meat. And I was like, why would you want to eat fake meat, something that's heavily processed? But I'm sorry, I just ain't gonna get into the fake meat. And I know even when you eat burgers, a lot of places probably have so much soy and other fillers in them that you're eating somewhat fake meat. But to be totally genetically made, you know, people are griping about GMO products, crops that are grown that way. You've probably got it in about everything that you eat now. It's got a little GMO in it. And I'm thinking they're griping about that. Now they're really willing, the same bunch, to eat fake meat. And so just show you where your meat comes from. It's a fun task raising cattle, but it's not super easy, because it does require work, and you have to get out and check your cows every day. You have to feed them, whatever needs to be done today. Y'all quit that. Hey, today I'm out here, and the calves are trying to lick my four-wheeler here and knock it over, and they're just shaking my camera. Otherwise I wouldn't care. They gather up around me all the time. But today this is one of my favorite heifers, and her mama is that cow I showed you earlier that had the black white face, and she's got the little black calf, and they were walking across over here. Well, that's her offspring from last year, this little black white face cow, if you caught a glimpse of her. And 807 there, and she is really doing good, and they're looking good. And about May or June, I'll let the bull in here with these young heifers, and they'll be old enough then, a year and a half or so old, and they can be put with the bull for 30 or 60 days. And I'll probably have them calve a little later than the other cows, so that the green grass and stuff's a little closer, and they'll be better taken care of in the process of all of it. But anyway, anyway, I appreciate you watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to try to do more updates. I do my ministry video every week. I hope you enjoy that. And if you know what you don't want to watch, you don't have to. And I just tell things like it is, but I like to share what we're doing on our farm also. And today I'm just out on this pretty winter day feeding the cows, and I hope you're doing well. And if you got a comment about how your cows are doing, put it down there on the comment link and let me know how your cattle are doing. If you just got one old milk cow, hey, let me know how they're faring for this winter. Normally a milk cow you can feed alfalfa hay and stuff too, but maybe you're experiencing something different. Maybe your cows are doing way better this year than normal. So if that's the case, why, I'd like to hear from you too. And but anyway, these old cows, this cow here, she's 10 or 12 year old, and she's had a calf every year and does well, but she's starting to age on me. And my younger ones are back over here. I fed them earlier, and some of them have even dropped off a little more than I thought they should have for young stuff. But anyway, I'm looking for spring and ready to get started. Hey, thank you for watching today. God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. We're gone.